Wall Street didn't build America. They're not bad guys. They didn't build it, though. The middle class built the country, and unions built the middle class. Under my plan, nobody earning less than $400,000 a year will pay an additional penny in federal taxes. Nobody, not one penny. And they haven't yet. In fact, the child tax credit I passed during the pandemic cut taxes for millions of working families and cut child poverty in half. The way to make the tax code fair is to make big corporations and the very wealthy begin to pay their fair share. Remember, in 2020, 55 of the biggest companies in America made $40 billion and paid zero in federal income tax. Zero. Not anymore. Thanks to the law I wrote and we signed, big companies have to pay a minimum of 15%. It's time to raise corporate minimum tax to at least 21%. So every big corporation finally begins to pay their fair share.
Well, there you have it. More campaigning from President Biden during his State of the Union address last night, vowing to raise taxes on what he's calling big companies. This is corporate America in general. His latest tax plan includes raising the corporate minimum tax to 21% for firms reporting more than $1 billion in profits. Joining me right now is the host of Making Money with Charles Payne. He's the author of Unbreakable Investor. Charles Payne is here. Charles, great to see you.
Good morning.
I think it's interesting that he's added big to this, big companies, big corporations, as if it's like just this small group of companies that make $1 billion in profits, okay? $1 billion in profits is not big.
Right.
This is all companies. He's raising corporate taxes, and they're just going to pass that on. Is that your view?
Well, they're going to try to pass it on. They're going to cut back on something. But let's start first and foremost. How awkward is it to say, brag about things in the economy that's all happening under a low tax regime, right? I mean, you can't say, hey, this is an amazing economy. It's never been better. And by the way, it's happening with low corporate taxes, right? And those low corporate taxes are maybe why people are getting hired. Maybe that's why the job market is doing pretty good, because low corporate taxes mean that corporations can take money and actually do things like use it to invest in things like AI. Maybe that's why the stock market is doing well. You know, we can logically connect these dots, but I think he says big because everyone has an affinity. Everyone feels like really like we all support our small businesses. But Maria, you know, anytime you start to think, for instance, 1,000 billionaires aren't doing this or not doing that, it reminds me of the alternative minimum tax. In the late 1960s, a small article was written about 200 families that paid no taxes. Congress went crazy, the society went crazy, and they passed this thing called the alternative minimum tax. We're going to go get those folks. They're going to pay their fair share. It wasn't adjusted for inflation. Pretty soon, hundreds of millions of Americans were paying the alternative minimum tax. These are ideas that backfire. In an economy that's going to we have trillions of dollars in deficit. This is the proverbial drop in the bucket. This is deflecting blame. This is blaming the big corporations, quote unquote big corporations, for really an inflation problem that was triggered by excessive fiscal spending. You know, I just want to share with the audience this war on food, for instance. So yesterday, Kroger released their earnings. So Kroger, of course, the largest real pure supermarket play out there. Their store sales, if you take out gasoline stations, were down 0.8%. This is what they said that was really interesting. Increased associate wages resulting in average hourly wage increases, right? These higher minimum wages across the country, nearly $19. And by the way, $25 in total compensation, up 33% in the last 5 years. You brought this up. Where do you make that up? You have to raise prices. But how much did they raise the prices? Their operating profits, their operating profit margin went from 2% to 3%. 3%, that sounds greedy to me. Let's go shut Kroger's down. It's nuts.
Yeah, you're making my point, because what I'm talking about is the fact that he's saying I'm going to raise taxes on big companies, but that's completely misleading. It's not just big companies.
Right.
I mean, he wants to raise taxes on any company making $1 billion in profits. I mean, let's face it, $1 billion in profits is a mid-sized company. The annual profits of Kroger, $31 billion in 2023. The annual profits of General Electric, $17 billion in 2023. Those are big companies. McDonald's, $14 billion in earnings. Okay, when you're talking about $1 billion, you're talking about small business.
Yeah.
You're talking about mid-sized business.
Right.
And if you start raising taxes on small and mid-sized business, they're going to pass it on. So this was a campaign speech, and he used raising taxes on the rich. That's what he leaned into because he thinks it, it passes muster with the populace.
But
That's
I think
campaigning.
also, Maria, it was all about deflection because you and I are talking about this. What we're not talking about is the true source of this inflation, this modern monetary theory, the
Right.
$1.9 trillion. That's what we're not talking about. That's what they really don't want us to talk about because it's a failed experiment, but they love to have another bite at the apple and do it all over again. Big government has to be funded. We know that. And, big government writing checks here and there. The idea and the notion that you can sort of tax your way and avoid inflation is folly. We learned that the hard way, but they're not going to stop, and people need to realize that. And I think most people do. I think most people at this point would say, you know what, don't give me free checks, but allow me to make a lot of money, earn it myself, and keep it.
You see, the problem is he knows he's got to mention inflation. But he
Right.
also knows when he mentions inflation, it's going to be quite obvious that it's too many dollars chasing too few goods. And those too many dollars is all the dollars that he and the Democrats have spent in the last 3 years. $6-7 trillion in borrowing and spending. That's what took us to 40-year high inflation. So his next best idea is to just blame it on companies.
Yeah.
Blame it on the
Yeah.
rich, even though the highest earners already pay the bulk of taxes in this country. And isn't it awkward that he's got to say, pay your fair share, knowing that his son did not?
I know.
Hunter Biden did not pay his fair share. How awkward is that?
I was cringing the whole time thinking the same thing, like, oh, my man, I can't believe you're talking about people being greedy. That would even triple off your lips and your tongue. Maria, here's the thing. To your point, he can't blame anyone else. He won't blame anyone else. They believe wholeheartedly in this because really it doesn't boil down to economics. And I think this is what people need to understand. It boils down to power. They really they have to wrap it in the veneer of
100%.
economics, but it really boils down to power, unlimited power, and how you keep that power. And listen, you can't brag about us being the envy of the world and keep complaining about us being a capitalist nation at the same time.
But you just said it spot on. Last night's speech was about him staying in power.
Yeah.
It was a campaign speech. He didn't care about the actual American citizens, because if he did, he would have mentioned the border first and inflation second, instead of Ukraine.
Yeah.
But he cares more about just holding on to his power, his grip on power. Charles, I know you're with us for the rest of the hour. It is Jobs Friday, and we've got our jobs panel coming up. The February jobs report out in 8 minutes. Stay with us. We'll be right back.